Hey there, welcome to episode 3 of Power Pop Shakers, where I talk about Power Pop new releases and the odd reissue as well. There's also a playlist where you can listen to the records that I'm talking about today. If you go to my channel and click on playlists, you'll find it there under the heading Power Pop Shakers. And if you look in the description below this video, you'll also see details of the records I'm talking about. Okay, first up we've got Brian Damage and Yesterday's Slime, which is available on cassette on Clean Demon. This is the recording name for Brian Baker, who comes from Columbus, Ohio. He plays drums, guitar, bass, synthesizer and sings. These are power pop tunes with indie, fey vocals, cheap analog synthesizers and the occasional drum machine as well. Tracks are recorded mostly in Brian Baker's living room. And the opening track, Too Far, just blew me away when I heard it. The guitars on this remind me very much of Pavement early on in their career. Right, next we've got a track by the Linda Lindas called O, which is available as a download, but presumably this will feature on their debut album for Epitaph, which will be out a bit later in the year. They signed to Epitaph in May. They're a Los Angeles-based all-female band. They're all teenage girls. It's a glorious mix of Lena Lovitch vocals, a Go-Go's chorus, and a guitar riff straight out of Bikini Kill. I think this band are going to be big, and Epitaph will definitely be promoting them when the album comes out. Next we've got the Telephone Numbers and the Ballad of Doug. This is available as an LP. In Europe you can get it on the label Meritorio, and in America on the San Francisco label Paisley Shirt. This is the debut LP by this San Francisco band, and they're led by Thomas Rubenstein. It's melancholy indie pop with lots of 80s influences. So if you think of the bands that were on the Sarah label in the 80s, and also maybe the Go-Betweens mid-period when it was all strummed acoustic guitars, violin and female backing vocals, especially on the track Sunset Town. And there's a touch of reflective Michael Stipe on the track Pictures of Lee as well. Next we've got the album Faster Action by the Reflectors, which is available on CD and LP on the labels Time for Action, Snap and Beluga. This is a Los Angeles based band. Their influences come from the poppier end of 70s punk, so think of bands like Buzzcocks and The Nerves. The track All Made Up, which is on the playlist, will be on the Faster Action album when it comes out. It's also available as a 7-inch single backed by the exclusive track Every Time, and that's 7 inches on Time for Action. Next we've got the Daze and I Want to Be a Star, coupled with At the Seaside, which is a 7-inch single on the Reminder label. They were a late 70s power pop band from Birmingham here in the UK, and this was their only single released at the time on the label Motor City Rhythm, and they sold the record mainly at gigs, and it's a pretty catchy song, and I've been playing it quite a few times. Next we've got a various artists compilation called The Boy Who Paints Rainbows, a colourful tribute to the television personalities, which is available as a double cassette on Jour de Plus label here in Europe and Kulaks in America. It contains 26 artists from France, the United States, Germany, Japan, Australia and Belgium, all covering television personalities songs, and there are so many highlights on this, it's fantastic. Highlights include Psychedelic Holiday by the legendary Jad Fair, Smashing Time by Miles and Johan, A Picture of Dorian Gray by the Catherines, a German band, and King and Country by the Space Padlocks. And this is another record that deserves to be put out on vinyl rather than being just out on cassette. Right. moving on, we've got Joey Molland and Be True to Yourself, which is available on CD on the American Omnivore label. And Joey Molland is the last surviving member of Badfinger's classic four-piece lineup. And I Don't Want to Be Done With You is the track you can hear on the playlist, and it's got lovely McCartney-esque vocals. And it's his first album of new material in 10 years. And he's got some guest artists on the album, including a couple of names that caught my eye, Julian Lennon and Mickey Dolenz. Right, next up it's Pat Todd and the Rank Outsiders and their fourth album, there's Pretty Things in Palookaville, which is available on Hound Gourd as an LP. Pat Todd was for many years the lead singer in the legendary Los Angeles punk band The Lazy Cowgirls, and this album is produced and engineered by former Sparks guitarist Earl Mankey, and it's a marvellous stew of Rolling Stones, Faces, Flamin' Groovies, sloppiness, a dash of 50s rock and roll, a country twang at times, and arguably I'd say they're the best rock and roll band in the world at the moment. They're just fantastic, and I'd love them to come to the UK and play a club venue here. And finally, I've got a couple of tracks uploaded by the Randalls, the first of which is Topanga Sands, which is available on a various artists LP called Hey Ho, Let's Go Surfing, which is on a Japanese label called Waterslide, and they also have an album coming out called Kicks on vinyl on Monster Zero, and the track I've picked from that is Karen, which includes guest vocals from Italian tattoo artist Valentine De Rosa. And if you don't know them, they're a Swedish pop punk band, and when you listen to them it feels like an endless summer of surf girls and cars and really catchy power pop punk. And that's it for now, and I'll be constantly uploading to the playlist, so I'll be back in a few days just to tell you a bit about the records that are being uploaded. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.